Hello and welcome back to the Dugout podcast. This is episode number 92. We are here today after a dismal international break for Scotland, two very disappointing friendlies. I'm joined as always by my co-host Ethan Barlow to go over all of the talking points from the two international games. We're also going to be discussing the other teams that qualified through the playoffs, and also having a wee look at how Scotland's group stage opponents did over this international break. And there's going to be a little quiz at the end. We will also be discussing what team we think should be playing in the States when it comes to that time. But yeah, as I said, I'm joined by my co host, Ethan Barlow, as always. Ethan, a very, very poor international break for Scotland. I feel like it's put even though we're I'd say we're still overall positive because we're going into the World Cup, but I think it's put a bit of a damper on maybe expectations.
Yeah, it certainly has, and seems like a case of where have we seen this before? Referring back to the European Championships campaign where we qualified in excellent fashion. I would say the performances were probably better than that campaign than the World Cup one just gone past. But then in the friendlies leading up to the actual tournament, it's not given us much confidence at all that we're going to go over there to the States, Boston and Miami, and actually put on some good performances and get the results which we should get. Referring to obviously Haiti, which is it's going to be the targeted match straight away. Yeah, not great. Of course, we're playing against good level opposition, Japan and Ivory Coast, two of the best nations in their respective continents. But yeah, just the performances weren't very good at all. I thought last night's was an improvement on what I heard from Saturday's game. I did get to see a lot of the game against Japan. I heard that it was a lot better, not a lot better, but slightly better last night. But even still, we never really looked like scoring, and Ivory Coast didn't really look like they had to get out of second gear. So that's the worrying things going into the tournament, certainly.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll start on that Japan game. I did see most of it. Defeated by a single goal at Hampden from Bayern Munich centre back Junya Ito. Um, but
No, no. Junior Ito's the winger that plays
sorry,
for Genk.
sorry, I just saw the second name and got confused. My apologies. Um, so yeah, Genk winger. Sorry guys for that wee mistake there. But yeah, Genk winger, Junya Ito. I think what's what's the
Hiroki. I
yeah?
thought when I seen
I
the
thought it
goal
was
and I seen it was Ito, I thought that it was the Bayern Munich centre back, but I did forget about the winger who's had
yeah.
quite a good career. I think obviously played in Belgium, went to Germany, back in Belgium with Genk, a good player. But yeah, Japan have got some good players, and I think we've seen that. But yeah, the Scotland performance, as I said, from what I heard and seen, wasn't good. You'll probably be able to tell me more, but
Yeah, it was
yeah, just not
frustrating.
encouraging at
Yeah,
all.
it was frustrating. The a lot of possession around the back. It just broke down every time we tried to go forward. Japan were really structured. They weren't great either, I thought, though. But Scotland were poor. Um, Lyndon Dykes couldn't hold the door. Never mind hold the ball up. It was so poor from him, I thought. And yeah, anytime got into forward areas where maybe a combination could have unlocked it, an attacking opportunity, they just go back. I was getting really frustrated with Nathan Patterson, actually. I feel like in his time at Rangers, I haven't seen much of him at Everton. Obviously, he's been injured a lot of it, but in his time at Rangers, he was always looking to go forward. Um, and I thought he was poor. Yeah, overall, it was just a bad game of football for any neutral watching, and for a Scotland fan, you've not been given much hope. I think the Ivory Coast game, like you said, Ethan, it was a little bit better. However, I think Ivory Coast they're not as structured defensively as Japan are. They're not as organised. But I think the worrying thing from that is Scotland were getting more opportunities, but they couldn't do anything with those opportunities. It broke down in the forward areas quite a lot. That final ball was lacking. It really frustrated me. The goal Scotland conceded against the Ivory Coast was really poor. Everyone standing there like statues. Nicholas Pepe following in, putting it away. And Scotland looked really vulnerable on the counter as well. They'd get into the forward areas, they'd give the ball away foolishly. Ivory Coast would break, and you think, oh, something could be on here. Obviously, they've got a team with a lot of pace in it, a lot of really talented players. Amad Diallo, Samara Dingra, Nicholas Pepe, the goal scorer. It's funny actually. This happens to me a lot. You see teams like international teams and you think, oh, we might have a chance against them, and then you see the lineup, and you go, oh yeah, he's from there. He's there. He plays for that country, and you're like, oh god. So it can be quite difficult sometimes. You forget. I think. Well, I don't know if it's for everyone, but sometimes I forget the level of talent that some nations have. But yeah, the performances were poor. Obviously, Japan have been a really, really good nation for many years. They qualified for their first World Cup, I think, in 1994, and they've not missed one since. Very consistent. Obviously, the last World Cup, they had some great results, beating Germany. They obviously, I think they went out to Croatia on penalties, but they've always been a good side. But I just think I don't know if this. I think the frustrating thing. I know I've been speaking for a while, but I think the frustrating thing is I don't think what we've seen is the limit of this Scotland side's capabilities. I think it's far below. I feel like it just looked like there was a lack of effort. Maybe a bit of complacency, especially in those forward areas. So yeah, that overall a really disappointing international break. Obviously, some players got a run out. Liam Kelly and Scott Bain both got a half. Like Anthony Ralston getting some playing time. Nathan Patterson hopefully getting some fitness back in his legs, stuff like that. But I think if those are the positives that I'm looking at, but I'm clutching at straws. Really, really negative international break for Scotland.
Yeah, it certainly is. And uh, watching those two games, you would wonder how Scotland did actually qualify out of their group. And obviously, Denmark got on to drop out in the second round of the playoffs, which we'll go on to. But just Scotland don't look good at anything. They don't look good at being a team that are hard to beat and defend well. The goal Ivory Coast score, the counter attack. By the time Ivory Coast have got the ball in the net, there's only five Scotland players. Sorry, six Scotland players, including Liam Kelly, in the picture. So you've got five Scotland players that aren't even close to being in a defensive area to stop Ivory Coast's attack. But then again, going forward on the ball, if you're trying to play out from the back or going long, Scotland just don't look like they have an answer to score goals. And I think what we've relied on throughout the campaign just gone is just individual brilliance. Our top players just scoring ridiculous goals. You think of McTominay's, Tierney's, McLean's, like it's not sustainable. And eventually, we spoke about it throughout that campaign. The performances weren't good enough. We got lucky that we got through, and you can't complain about it. But this was always going to happen. That the performances could catch up to Scotland, and that's what they have done. We've come up against two good sides that just look a lot better than us. Look a lot more organised, both in and out of possession. And yeah, I think that's what we've seen. In the two games, I'll speak about the Ivory Coast game more because I've seen more of it. I thought George Hurst got into some good positions at times, but I thought his decision making at some points was terrible. And Shea Adams couldn't really even get into the game, and a lot of the time it seemed like they two were just standing up front, and there was no real connection between themselves and the midfield players. A lot of the midfielders like to come short and get on the ball. Maybe less Scott McTominay. He's one who likes to stay closer to the strikers, but we just don't know, like, have a sustainable way of playing that's going to give us success at this tournament, which is disappointing. And don't know what needs to change. I think obviously, I think we've made our feelings about Steve Clarke clear in the past. We're obviously willing to eat our words after he got us qualified to the tournament, but
What I
still
will
feels
say
like we're
though
not.
is what I will say though is if we go out with a whimper in this World Cup, I don't want to see him anymore in the Scotland dugout. I mean, if he gets, it's a very fine line he's walking because I feel like we've got with this extended World Cup. Ethan, you actually told me before we started recording, 3 points and a -2 goal difference. The supercomputer says could be enough. Obviously, there's other variables to take into account. Other things could happen, but that the supercomputer is rarely wrong in its predictions for being enough to qualify for Europa League, Champions League, other competitions. So 3 points and a -2 goal difference could be enough to progress. And I think with these sort of restrictions that have been taken away, the opportunity's never been better for a Scotland team to qualify out of a group stage. And he has got us here, and we're grateful for that. But it's an extended tournament. There's more opportunity to get into the World Cup. There's even more opportunity to qualify out of the group stage. So I think those are the wee caveats there. However, though, on the other side of it, like I said, he's walking a fine line because I think if even my dad is a massive Steve Clarke hater, he doesn't like him. He's never liked him in the job, right? But he said he's given all the things that I said there, extended tournament, more opportunities, that kind of thing. But he did say if he gets Scotland out of the group stages, he would have to admit he's the best Scotland manager ever. Because no Scotland manager's ever done that before. So he's walking a fine line from being a profound failure because of all these chances he has to get out of this group. But on the other side of things, he could be a national hero, getting us out of our first ever group stage in an international competition. And when you think about it, that's crazy. The players Scotland had, especially before mine or Ethan's time, but the players that we've had in the past, and we've never progressed out of an international group stage. I can't remember which World Cup it was, but it might be in the 70s. They literally threw like a victory parade before they went because they thought they were going to win the tournament because of how good the players were and all that, and then they got parked out in the group stages. So, you know,
Yeah, it was. I think it was the 1978 World
I
Cup
want,
in Argentina. It was.
I wanted to say 78, but I wasn't sure. So yeah, it's crazy that that's never happened before. So with Steve Clarke manages to do it, I think maybe older fans might disagree, but I think you have to say factually he would be the greatest manager ever. So yeah, it's a fine line he's walking.
Yeah, yeah, as and the thing is that all the things you said about it being the easiest to get into the World Cup, that's obviously it's factual. The easiest to get out of a World Cup group, factual. I think the problem comes now is that we should be confident after what we've done in that World Cup qualifying campaign that we should beat Haiti. That there should be no doubts about it, and that we should be going into that first game very confident that we're going to win the match. But I'm sure you're not too confident, and I'm certainly not, and that's the worrying thing because it seems like there's a sort of inevitability about this. And if we weren't to pick up 3 points in that first game, then you don't have much hope going into the next
No,
two against the top quality oppositions. So yeah, that's where the worrying
no,
points come from
I
Scotland.
saw a clip of Brazil, and it wasn't even like their starting team. And it was Rayan, the Bournemouth winger, who made his debut against. I can't remember who it was, but he made his Brazil debut the other night. And I saw a clip of him, 5 players or something around him, and I'm like, oh my god, this. He's been very good for Bournemouth this season, but just seeing him in a Brazil shirt doing his thing, I'm like, and this is the guy they've got on the bench, you know. So it's gonna be tough, and that win against Haiti is crucial. Maybe that's like the Scottish pessimism, though. You think we could mess it up, and I wonder if that's over the years, if that's a mentality that has actually leaked into the team. They don't allow themselves to, reach for that. So they don't even, I'm not saying that they don't try, but maybe they don't believe that they can, that they're sort of, I don't know what other word to use. This is going to sound like I'm in like a fantasy novel or something, but they don't believe they're worthy of winning and potentially qualifying. Maybe they don't believe that in themselves. So obviously this is all completely hypothetical nonsense that I'm spewing here, but I feel like it's a thing like as Scotland fans, maybe we're a small nation, we've never progressed out of group stage. We think, and it'll just be the same. Yeah, it'll be all the big nations. We'll be the same as we normally are. Maybe that's a mentality that like leaks into the team. I'm not sure.
Yeah, quite possibly, and I was thinking about that, but I think it's the players and coaching staff's responsibility to give themselves confidence going into the campaign. And despite that sort of national feeling that we always associate with ourselves, these two games wouldn't have given those players any extra confidence going into this tournament, not at all. And I just don't think we've ever really been good at beating the teams we're expected to beat either. I don't think it's a responsibility that this group of players under Steve Clarke shouldered really well. I know we've got the job done, but you think back to that game, especially at home to Belarus, and I know Haiti are probably a better team than Belarus, but even still, that emphasises the point. They're going to come with a sort of underdog fashion that if they score a goal, then that's seen as a success for them. Whereas we want to have aspirations to actually get out of the group, so that all of the pressure's on Scotland to win that match, and that's where I worry about it, to be honest. But yeah, we've got a long way to go. We've got a couple of friendlies. Curacao being one of them at the end of May, and then we've got one in April, which I think is still yet to be announced. I've seen a few nations getting floated about as rumours for that game. I believe it's going to be a South American team. So we've had a nice split of teams from different continents, over the recent friendlies. So that'll give the players a good taste going into the three group games where hopefully we have a fully fit squad available, and hopefully Steve Clarke picks the right players and starts the right players. I think we're going to give our thoughts on what our starting 11 would be at the minute. We can do. Do you want to do that now, or
Yeah, we'll do that just
we
now.
may as well do that now?
Um,
So, do you want
uh,
me to start?
yeah,
Right,
I don't want any
I've
of
got.
them. Get them all out. Pick a whole new team.
Um, right, so my team would be. I know over this international break, Steve Clark's opted for a back five and a back four. I would go with a back four. In goals, I would go Angus Gunn. The back four, and I know this isn't this for me. This lineup's never going to be played right, but this is what I think we should do, and I think it is the best way to get all of our best players on the pitch. So
Are you gonna play?
Andrew
Are
Robertson,
you gonna play Kieran Tierney at centre back
yes, I am.
in a back
Uh,
four?
yes, um,
No.
Robertson, Tierney, McKenna, and Aaron Hickey, if he's fit, is the back four. I think that's the best fullbacks and the best central defender in Scott McKenna, alongside Kieran Tierney, who I think needs to be in the team. I think it would be a waste if he wasn't in the team. I think he's been really good on his return to Celtic, and I think we should find a way to get him into that team. The midfield five would be um, Ben Gannon Doak, obviously, uh, Scott McTominay, Lewis Ferguson, Billy Gilmore, Ryan Christie, and then John McGinn is the false nine striker. Because
Bengan and Doak,
yeah,
Billy Gilmore,
Yeah,
Ryan Christie,
yeah,
John McGinn,
yeah.
Lewis.
Lewis Ferguson.
All right. I was
I've not got a recognised striker in my team, but I don't know. I don't think any of them have been performing at a level good enough, and one of those
sorry,
midfielders is going to need to
sorry,
be left out of the team.
sorry. So you've got Angus Gunn, then Robbo, Tierney,
McKenna,
McKenna, and Hickey if fit. Then you've got
yeah,
McTominay, Gilmore, Christie, Ferguson,
Ben
McGinn.
Ganondorp,
Ferguson, McGinn,
McGinn
and
and Ben
Doak.
Ganondorp.
Oh, so you don't have a recognised striker.
No,
That's interesting.
yeah, it's interesting, but
And you're right. That's
what are
never
those?
gonna it's never gonna get played.
No,
But
no, it isn't. No, it isn't going to happen. But what are those midfielders at the moment? Would you not play?
that was the dilemma I was coming to actually.
I
Um,
think we get more value with. I think it would be Billy Gilmore that drops out at the minute, but I think
yeah,
we get more value from having Billy Gilmore in the team than any of the strikers that are currently available. And that's my honest opinion. I know it's
maybe.
a little bit bold, but um,
Okay,
yeah,
right. Okay,
let's hear your team.
I'm gonna start with Liam. Angus Gunn. Um, then obviously if Aaron Hickey's fit, I will play Aaron Hickey. But if he's not fit, I'd go Nathan Patterson. Um, I think he's the next best option. Excuse me. And I said before we recorded, if Kobe Donovan's fit for the World Cup, I'd take him over Anthony Ralston. I never want to see him in a Scotland shirt ever again. How he's got 25 caps is beyond me.
Not
So,
very. That's not very nice.
and then at the left back, I'd go Robbo. Centre backs, Scott McKenna and
Yeah, there we go.
Scott McKenna and Dom Hyam.
Okay, fair enough.
Um, you know what? I think he's too old. I'd drop the skipper and put Kieran Tierney in instead of him. Um,
What? That's more unrealistic than my team.
yeah, but you said it's who we think should play.
Okay, okay. Well, I think that's bold. That's really bold.
Then two sitters, Christine Ferguson,
Okay.
McTominay in the 10, Doak on the
Yeah.
right, McGinn on the left, then Barney Stewart up top.
Oh.
No,
Well,
uh,
yeah. I think a lot of people have been calling for Barney Stewart, and is he going to get the chance? I think he's going to need to do a lot of good
well, he
things for
can't be any
Falkirk
worse
between the end of the
than
season.
Tommy Conway and George Hurst. We can see why they've not been playing. Oh my God. Oh, and then you've got big Lyndon Dykes. Like I said, he couldn't hold a door open. Never mind hold up the ball. And then Shea Adams is probably the best in the bunch, and he's not great either. So, yeah, why not? Barney Stewart up top, take us all the way.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, that's a very unrealistic lineups for Scotland in the World Cup, which has probably contributed nothing to any sort of debate because it's not going to happen. But
Can I
you
can
know,
I just
it's
can I
nice to
just
talk about hypotheticals.
sorry, can I just caveat my decisions by saying the fact that I Tierney and the Robertson and Tierney decision was really tough because if I could, I would put both of them in the team. I just think Tierney as a centre back and a back four would never work. I think he needs that.
Why? Why? What makes
No,
you say that?
because he needs that extra bit of. I think he needs that extra bit of freedom, that extra bit of cover. I don't. I don't think he's physical enough either to be a out and out centre back. So I'd that's why I wouldn't play him with Robertson alongside him. I think that as well would leave our left hand side totally exposed. Um,
Yeah, but
but
what I will say is, sorry, just to jump in on that point, what you seen and this is different because it's a back five or a back three Tierney was played in last night, but you did see him get forward at points and he was covered for with the amount of midfielders that I'm proposing to play in my team, especially with two sitters. You could say maybe even three if you want to class Ryan Christie as a sitter alongside Ferguson and Gilmore. Then every time Tierney wants to get forward and join Robertson in attack, one of them can cover. I, I know that it's not the
that's
most
insane.
normal.
No wonder you're
No,
not.
it is.
No wonder you're
It
not a
is.
football manager. So what I
What do you
would
mean? No wonder I'm not a foot. What? No? It's positions and formations don't matter that much nowadays. They
Oh,
really
here we
don't.
go. Pep Guardiola over here.
Well, no, they don't know, do they?
I think
They
they
don't.
do.
They don't.
You could play Zubamendi up front, could you?
Yeah, right. That's because he's not got the qualities that a striker does. Tierney has the
So
qualities that a defender does.
positions. He doesn't have the qualities of a centre back, an out and out centre back, in my opinion. But like I said, and so that leads me to the decision where I need to choose between the two of them. And I'm not saying Kieran Tierney is a better player than Andy Robertson all time. I just think on the face of things, I think Kieran Tierney for Scotland has been better, and he's played more this season. I think I'll need to probably look at that. They might be the statistics might be closer, and I think uh, Andy Robertson is. Yeah, I think he's always been poor for Scotland. So it was really tough
Not
one.
always. He's not always been poor for Scotland. I give you that little bit of that.
Name one really good game for Scotland Andy Robertson has ever had. Something that pops in your
Right.
mind.
Okay. Name one good Kieran Tierney performance he's had for Scotland. Then. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
no, wait a minute. Denmark.
He came off the bench at
Mm-hmm.
right back.
Yeah, that was a good performance.
It was a good performance, but it
He
was a
did.
cameo off the bench.
He defend. No, but he defended really well. Scored the goal that set up the winner.
Set up the winner.
So
You talk a lot on that. You talk a lot of nonsense. Set up the winner.
what?
Right, I agree with your point. I agree with your point, but that's the problem. I think Kieran Tierney is one of your best players and should be in the team. So
Yeah, but
maybe that
you
means that they
shouldn't
have to play a
shoot.
back
You
five.
shouldn't just shoehorn someone in for. Okay, so weird jump cut there. I got a little bit carried away in the conversation. Forgot that we don't have Zoom Premium, so the time was running out and the meeting cut. But the point that I was making was the fact that you can't just shoehorn players into positions that they're not equipped to play. Um, I just don't think like Kieran, like just because he's good doesn't mean that you can just throw him in and make him work. It doesn't mean he'll be better than an actual centre back in that position. If it was a five, I would play him on the left side of the five because it's been proven he can do it there, and he has that extra cover. But I don't think you could put him at centre back in a back four and not be completely exposed.
But what makes you say that? Because you said that
I've never
in
seen
the
him do
back.
it. I've never seen him do it.
No, but
It's a
no,
dangerous thing.
that's
It's a
exactly my
dangerous
point.
thing to try right before an international tournament. Maybe if we did it against Curacao, maybe if we did it against the other team that we're playing against in the friendly, and it tries and it works, and he's excellent. I'll be all for that. Fine, but we've seen no evidence to suggest that Kieran Tierney can play in a back four as a centre back. He's as far as I'm aware,
I don't know.
he's never done that in his entire career.
He had never played the left centre back in a back three before he done it, and the
Yeah,
evidence is that, as you said,
yeah, but
he's
he
very
did.
good at that.
He
So
played it well, and he did well. But I think it's a dangerous thing to try, you know. And I don't think Steve Clarke will try it in the friendlies. So I
No, he
don't.
won't. He won't. So
So
it's a bit of a pointless debate, but no, I think I disagree with you. I think it is about. I think international football is about trying to shoehorn your good players into the team. I think it is. I think you just need to try and have all your best players playing, regardless of whether it's their strongest position or not. Like, look at what Scotland do with their midfielders. Not all of our midfielders playing their strongest positions that they do for at club level, but our midfielders are our best players. Midfielders usually are the best players, but um, our midfielders in particular are certainly our best players, so it's important to get all of them in. And I would say the same for Kieran Tierney, and I think it would be a miss if we went to utilise them in our starting lineup. But uh, Steve Clarke probably will opt for a back five in at least one of the group stage games that he will play. So I think he will have a part to play throughout the campaign. So yeah, what do you want to get on to next?
do you want to take it away with some of the qualifier games last night? We had some playoff winners.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll leave the probably the biggest one to till the end. Kosovo hosted Turkey. Kosovo beat Slovakia 4-3 in a really good game the other night. Turkey beat who was it? Turkey beat it was Romania by the odd goal, and Turkey won 1-0 over Kosovo to advance to the World Cup to end. It's crazy to say, and I didn't really think about this. And I didn't know until I found out last night that it was 24 years since Turkey have last been at a World Cup, which is quite crazy. And it's the only, I believe, their third World Cup they're actually going to. So yeah, that's quite a strange one. But they'll be there. Next up, Sweden v Poland, which was another really good game. 3-2, Sweden won. Sweden beat Ukraine 3-1 the other night. Poland narrowly beat Albania 2-1 in the previous round, but Sweden go through with a late goal from Victor Gyökeres, who scored a hat trick in the previous round. I don't know if you've seen, but past and present Celts linking up for one of the goals. Benjamin Nygren setting up Gustav Lagerbielke. Who I think's carved out a really good career for himself at Braga. He was certainly really solid when they played Celtic at Celtic Park. So Sweden also into the next round. Into the next round, the World Cup group stages with Robert Lewandowski missing out on what's probably his last opportunity to go to a tournament. Next up was Czechia Republic versus Denmark. Obviously, we expected Denmark to go through after we obviously put them out in the group stages, but
Do
it
you want
wasn't
to
to be
have
the
a little? Do
case.
you want to have a little chat about a certain Dane that I brought? I brought.
We could do, but I think yeah, it's obviously
It's
really
destroyed his career
disappointing for
for
him.
no reason.
Yeah, well, you can't say that, but it's hypotheticals, isn't it? He wasn't to know that, and he'll maybe feel that if he was in goals and fit and firing, it would have been a different story. But yeah, obviously, two each on the night in Prague, but Czech Republic advanced 3-1 on penalties after they obviously beat Republic of Ireland on penalties the other night. So
Yeah.
yeah, really good.
Your Congo as well qualified in extra time.
Yeah, over Jamaica. I did watch a bit of that game.
Axel
Didn't really.
Tuanzebe, former Manchester United centre back, was the winning goal.
Yeah, I seen that. Obviously taking up the place of Rocky Bashiri. I seen him. He was on an unused sub. I don't think Mikel Ange Balikwisha was in the DR Congo squad. I didn't see him last night, but maybe he was. Obviously not been playing a lot of Celtic, but yeah, Czech Republic go through a really good sort of couple of games for them. I think they might have been second favourites in both of those games, despite being at home in both of them. Denmark and Ireland would have fancied their chances. And then finally, the
Well,
shock of the.
what about Iraq as well?
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, okay. I was gonna go to the other continents last, but
All
yes,
right, okay. Sorry, I
no,
thought.
no, 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 no. Of course, you're right. Iraq beat Bolivia 2-1, and Iraq go into a group of death now. I think with Senegal, Norway, and France. So welcome to the World Cup, Iraq, and that was in the one of the second Interconfederation qualification after the DR Congo Jamaica game. And then the shock of all shocks, but is it really a shock at this point? Italy not making their third consecutive World Cup. They lost on penalties to Bosnia and Herzegovina. Moise Kean opened the score in the 50th minute, I believe, setting a international record.
You've just answered one of my quiz questions.
What? Oh, am I?
Oh no.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, Moise Kean setting an international record for Italy for most goals in consecutive games. But it was ultimately to mean nothing after Alessandro Bastoni's red card in the first half. Bosnia dominated the second half after that in extra time. Couldn't find they found the equaliser for Tabakovic. Couldn't find the winner, but win on penalties.
We're talking a couple of one former Celtic player and a present Celtic player qualified for the World Cup last night. Former Rangers player obviously qualifying last night as well against Italy, Nikola Katic.
Yeah, I watched that. I got a bit of that game as well, and he looked really, really good. Obviously, playing his football now at Schalke alongside Edin Dzeko, who's still playing remarkably, scored the other night at 40. So excellent for them to make their first return at a tournament since 2014, I think it was, for Bosnia. Obviously, the same period since Italy were last in a tournament. And I wonder, has there ever been a stretch of four international tournaments, or I think you could say, five international tournaments possibly, where Scotland have qualified more times than Italy, which is crazy to think of, even though Italy have won the Euros in that spell. So, yeah, remarkable that Italy miss out on the World Cup again. I think I would have wanted them to be there because they have some excellent players and they're obviously one of the big nations, but credit to Bosnia, and what an excellent story that is.
Not that excellent if they couldn't qualify.
What?
Not that excellent if they couldn't qualify. You heard it here first. Scotland clears Italy in every way possible. So, yeah.
I wouldn't be too sure about that. No, maybe. You never know. But we don't need to worry about
Angus Gunn or Donnarumma, what we're saying.
Angus Gunn. But no, I don't know if did you see that the Italy players were celebrating, or looked to be celebrating as Bosnia beat Wales on penalties. They obviously thought they had got the easier of the two teams, but how that's came back to bite them. Yeah, and that is crazy that
should we talk about the two other home nations and of course our friends across the sea, Ireland as well, obviously all going out in the previous round.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, meaning that Scotland is the only other home nation that have qualified. Obviously, Ireland not part of the UK, but a lot of similarities drawn between them and Scotland.
Yeah, yeah. I did catch some of those games. I watched the Italy Northern Ireland game. Italy weren't great, but they just had too much for Northern Ireland. It was always going to be a task for them to go over there to Bergamo. I think the game was played in, and Italy obviously ran out to now winners for Republic of Ireland and Wales as well. Really disappointing. Both of them leading against Czech Republic and Bosnia, and both throw away late goals and then lose on penalties. So yeah, disappointing for them. But I think puts into perspective the achievement of Scotland actually getting to the World Cup that these other three nations haven't done. So
yeah,
and they've got some really good players as well. I think we could use a player like Troy Parrott certainly with our striker problems at the minute. So
yeah, absolutely,
disappointing for those three nations. But I think there was jokes at the 2016 Euros. I think it was when all of them in England got to the tournament, and it was what was it? Remember to put our bins out. They were saying to Scotland fans, so Scotland can now return the favour. But yeah.
Well, there's that famous tweet from it was before the Euros in 2024, where obviously our qualifying group was like Norway and Wales, not Wales, Norway and Spain and all that. And that Wales fan tweeted, "There's always 2028 lads." And someone has held on to that quote, tweeted it, and went, "There's always 2030 lads." because we've obviously qualified for the last two tournaments and they have not. So, yeah, good bit of banter between the Scots and the Welsh there. But yeah, so well done to those nations who have qualified. I'm sure they'll all be as buzzing as Scotland are to be in the World Cup, the greatest stage, the world's most watched thing, I guess you could say, ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll briefly speak about Scotland's opponents, how they did over this international break. Um, Brazil, we'll start on Brazil, two friendlies. They lost 2-1 at home. However, don't get your hopes up. It was to probably one of the tournament favourites, if not the tournament favourites. The first and second team are crazy. France beat them 2-1 in Brazil. France down to
No,
10.
it was in Boston.
Or was it in Boston?
Yeah,
Sorry.
it was in Boston. So where Scotland will play, hopefully, and hopefully we're as good as France. Well, I doubt it.
Yeah, so with 10 men as well, so they took the lead through killing Mbappe, and Dayot Upamecano was sent off. But then they doubled their advantage with Ugo Ekitike. They then got a goal back through Bremer, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough for the Brazilians. They did win their next game, however, 3-1 win over old foes Croatia. I feel like they play them a lot, especially in international tournaments. And they got a decent win there, a 3-1 win over them. Danilo, Thiago, and Martinelli. Obviously not Rangers Danilo, but in case there was any confusion there, he's definitely not playing for Brazil. Um, but formerly Nottingham Forest, I think, now at Botafogo. Danilo, if I'm correct. Um,
Oh yeah, it was that Danilo. I thought it was the other Danilo that played for. But I've just realised he was a used sub. The Danilo that played for Real Madrid and Man City, and now at Flamengo.
he was at Juventus as well.
Oh yeah, Juventus as well. Yeah, you're right. But you look at the players that are sort of coming off the bench. You've got Fabinho, I know he plays in Saudi Arabia now. Thiago getting his first goal. Obviously, I think pushing Erling Haaland really close in the Premier League golden boot race. So, I think we had our doubts and maybe said about how
Not
Brazil are.
covering all my questions.
Well, have I done another
there's second there's,
one?
there's second parts to them that you'll still need to guess, but oh god.
Okay. Oh yeah, but my point was that we sort of we didn't write Brazil off, but we said that they're maybe not the team that they once were, and I still don't think that Brazil will have enough to win the tournament. But it's still a very good team and still got some really top quality players that Scotland will find it difficult to deal with, certainly.
Yeah. Moving on to the champions of Africa. Um, official champions of Africa from the Federation, but in everyone else's eyes, we know that is Senegal. I'm just looking at FOTMob here, and they've actually got changed the result to a 3-0 win to Morocco.
Oh yeah, I've just seen that myself.
But they drew one each with Ecuador, a late equaliser from El Ayouni, and then beat Paraguay 2-1. Paraguay played against Greece as well, actually managed to beat them. But I'm not going to lie, Ethan, these results give me a little bit more confidence.
I don't know about that. They've still won both. Well, they've won one of the games. Ecuador, are a really good team, had a really solid qualifying campaign. So I don't know. We lost both our games without scoring a goal. So if you want to take confidence from it, Alex, then I'm not gonna try and discourage you because that's what we need at the minute. We need confidence from somewhere. Hakimi popping up with 3 assists in 2 games. He's obviously going to be one of the main attacking outlets despite being a defender. So yeah, it's going to be difficult going up against Morocco. As we said, they've got top players as well. El Kanous grabbing one of the goals. I thought he was really impressive at Celtic Park when Stuttgart came to Glasgow. So yeah, they've got some top players as well. We know what we're getting with these two teams. The next one maybe less so, but even then, Scotland are big favourites for that one, and hopefully we don't get egg in our faces.
Haiti lost 1-0 to Tunisia with a goal from Celtic's own Sebastian Tinecki. They also received a red card in the 94th minute. And then, maybe making me a little bit less confident, they drew one each with Iceland. Oh,
Yeah,
Gylfi Sigurdsson. I didn't realise he was still playing football.
yeah,
I thought he was on the I thought he was on the naughty list. But you know we'll move on quickly from him. They got a one each draw. One player we definitely need to look out for is Sunderland's Wilson Isidore. He's been decent this season for the Black Cats. Obviously, he recently declared for Haiti, and it looks like he will play in this World Cup. So he's one. I think he is one player we need to watch when coming up against the Haitians.
yeah. Probably him and Bellegarde, obviously at Wolves. I think
Yeah, of course.
they're the two players that I recognise. So yeah, they'll be the ones to watch out for. But I'm sure in their own right, they've got good players. They didn't make it to the World Cup off luck. They're there on merit, and they'll want to fight for results and pride and in goals. As I said, I think the supporters will be happy if they can get a goal, and hopefully Scotland don't let them achieve that, and we win the match. But yeah, we'll need to turn up, be professional, and do the job.
Actually, I'm just looking at where some of their players play. It's a bit of a higher level than I thought it would be. You've got what league is that? National.
It's a higher level than I thought. What league is that?
No, wait a minute. Is it the French third tier?
Yeah, there's a lot of France, Switzerland, Belgium. I'm
There's
seeing.
you've got Belgian Pro League, uh, Brazilian Serie A, I think, um, Swiss League, yeah, League Two,
MLS. There's a lot of MLS players.
second League of Portugal, Turkish Super League. Duckins Nazon with 9 goals in the Turkish Super League this season. Um, yeah, MLS, like you said, obviously a couple of Premier League players there. So yeah, maybe a wee bit better than some people are anticipating, but Scotland still probably should beat them. But yeah, that'll bring us on now to a very short quiz that I've made up. 5 questions. Ethan's already kind of half answered a few of them, so um, I'll modify them. So obviously, I was going to ask when was the last time Italy qualified for the World Cup, but you kind of mentioned that already. So, uh,
2014.
yeah, it was 2014. But what stage did they reach in that tournament?
They got knocked out in the group stages along with England.
Yeah, they did. Well done, Ethan. You mentioned Robert Lewandowski has failed to qualify for the World Cup. He tweeted on social media saying it's time to say goodbye, meaning that he probably won't play for Poland in an international tournament again. How many World Cups has he qualified for?
Uh, One.
No, it was two.
Oh, I was going to. It was a toss up between one and two. Ah,
Okay. The one great thing about the World Cup is that every 4 years we get to see a legend of the game. He only shows up for World Cups. He's incredible. Guillermo Ochoa, um, obviously Mexico's goalkeeper for as long as I can remember. Um, so he's potentially going to play in this World Cup in the summer. But how many has he played in for Mexico so far?
that is interesting. I'm going to say he's played in 5 previous World Cups.
Wrong. He's played in three.
Four. Free. He didn't play in 2022, did he? No, I don't think he did.
Don't know. Couldn't tell you, mate. So
Tell you, mate.
you mentioned Igor Thiago got his first goal for Brazil last night. He's obviously, like you said, putting a bit of pressure on Erling Haaland. How many Premier League goals has he scored this season?
90.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. So you've got 2 out of 4 so far. This is the final question.
To pass.
Eh?
To get a pass.
Yeah, to get a pass.
Right.
Sweden qualified obviously last night. We were speaking about the game earlier, beating Robert Lewandowski's Poland. They failed to get through in the group stages. How many points did they accrue?
Oh, I think it was. Oh, was it? Oh, it was something ridiculous because they didn't win a game. I'm going to say 1.0.
Zero.
Oh,
They got in through
that is crazy.
the back door of the Nations League.
That is crazy. That is crazy. I've seen a few Polish people complaining about that, but at the end of the day, the rules were set in place for that route, and Scotland have obviously benefited from it. Sorry, in the past and Euro qualification. So yeah, fair enough to Sweden, and yeah, I think they'll be a really exciting team at the tournament. They've got some great attacking quality players, and especially if they can get Alexander Isak, dust the cobwebs off of him at
What has
Anfield.
been
I
going
know
on
he's been
with him?
struggling with injuries, but
He's been so bad.
yeah,
Much did they pay? 120 or something? 100? I don't even know.
yeah, something like that.
Absolutely mad. You could get, I don't know, like 12 Yusuf Chermitis for that amount of money.
Oof, don't know what's better.
Oh, okay. Okay, none of that. But yeah, unless I'm missing anything, Ethan, I think that'll do it for today's episode.
Yeah, I think it will.
Okay. Thank you to everyone for watching and listening. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts on the Scotland national team in the comments section down below. Please share the podcast, tell your friends about it. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching and listening. Goodbye.